Okay, so I just saw a video on my FYP that was very concerning about ICE, and now I feel like we really need to talk about it here. ICE is doing what's known as kettling, which I was not aware of until this came up. Kettling basically means blocking us off so that we are in a kettle. That way we are able to be treated however they want to treat us. They're setting up the steps in motion to make sure we can't leave. And we can tell this because of where they are going to. They started in Oregon, right? Now they're in Minnesota, and they're already deploying in Maine. They're going to the Canadian border, making sure that we as Americans don't flee to the Canadians and say, hey, we need asylum. They're preparing to make things even worse in here. That's what that means, because we're going to want to flee and we won't be able to. So this is just the start of the atrocities. It's going to get much worse. We should be scared. We need to be like Minnesota, protesting, striking, and arresting the president, the one who controls all this. I don't know, but we can't vote him out. That's not the solution, because he's a dictator. He's not going to leave at this point. Oh, we have more to talk about. The Fourth Amendment rights, gone. Total immunity for ICE officers goes ahead. It's just, where are the 2A people at? You said, we're keeping our weapons because if there's ever a tyrannical government, we will be there with a well-trained militia. Well, you're staring authoritarianism down in the face. Where are you?
Go south on Main if you don't want to get kettled. If you want to get kettled, stay over there. But if you don't want to, you can go that way. Just letting you know. Just giving you information.
The bubble medic is right here if your eyes are burning. We have eye solution.
Good morning. ICE is kettling the United States. They are kettling us. That's why they keep doing these seemingly random things and going to these random states. They're not random. They're kettling us. They started in Portland, Oregon. They have a large ICE presence there. They went to Minnesota. They have a large ICE presence there. They're now in Maine. They're moving a lot of ICE agents over there. It's not just like random. It's not just retaliation. They're not looking for undocumented people. They're not looking for people who have broken the law. They are kettling us. They placed large groups of ICE agents strategically at the border so that they can more easily move more ICE agents to other states that border Canada. So we can't leave. They're canceling people's passports. They're kettling us into the United States. They're about to do some heinous fuck shit with us. Just so y'all know.
Did you know Trump took his slogan from a 90s sci-fi book written by a black woman? I'm really surprised I haven't seen more people talking about Parable of the Sower, which came out in 1993, but is set in 2024. And the author Octavia Butler predicted a lot of 2024. I'm talking all the way from climate change to Make America Great Again to police brutality. There are storms, droughts, floods that have eerie resemblances to actual real-world occurrences, such as Hurricane Michael, which was a Category 5 hurricane that hit in 2018. And literally in the sequel to Parable of the Sower, called Parable of the Talents, which comes out in 1998, the presidential candidate in the book runs on the slogan, Make America Great Again. Like, I literally kid you not. Even all the way in the 90s, Octavia Butler predicted the problem with this crazy desire for space travel, with the main protagonist, Lauren, saying like, oh, they're spending all this money on space travel and people on Earth don't even have like food, water, and shelter. And now we have like Elon Musk, who has all the money in the world and is not donating any of it, but is very concerned on getting to space for some reason. Octavia Butler did die in 2006, but she is widely hailed as one of the best science fiction writers, having won the Hugo and the Nebula multiple times. If you haven't read Parable of the Sower or Parable of the Talents, any of her books, I highly recommend. They are so incredibly prophetic and well written.
Octavia Butler knew. Octavia Butler knew. Parable of the Sower is based in 2024. And at that time, there's an election that takes place. And the guy running for office is a dude named Christopher Donner. And Donner is elected on the basis of his promises to bring back jobs and dismantle government programs. In Parable of the Sower, His slogan is "Make America Great Again." Octavia Butler knew. But also, if you've never read this book, you may want to read this book. It's equal parts sci-fi and a survivor's text.
When people say put down The Handmaid's Tale and pick up Parable of the Sower, it is no joke. So I'm in the second book, it's Parable of the Talents. And just to set the scene, this is a dystopian near future. The first book starts in 2024. I'm in the second book and now it's 2032. And it's just like a dystopian hellscape. Like it's very violent. There's a lot of like financial oppression happening that she describes. And it's just like scary, but a little too real. But this excerpt is about a religious leader that's rising to political power, and his name is Jarrett, and I'm just going to read this excerpt. So, Jarrett supporters have been known now and then to form mobs and burn people at the stake for being witches. Witches in 2032. A witch, in their view, tends to be a Muslim, a Jew, a Hindu, a Buddhist, or in some parts of the country, a Mormon, a Jehovah's Witness, or even a Catholic. A witch may also be an atheist, a cultist, or a well-to-do eccentric. Well-to-do eccentrics often have no protectors or much that's worth stealing, and cultist is a great catch-all term for anyone who fits into no other large category, and yet doesn't quite match Jarrett's version of Christianity. Jarrett's people have been known to beat or drive out Unitarians, for goodness sake. And Jarrett condemns the burnings, but does so in such mild language that his people are free to hear what they want to hear. As for the beatings, the tarring and feathering, the destruction of heathen houses of devil worship, he has a simple answer. Join us. Our doors are open to every nationality, every race. Leave your sinful past behind and become one of us. Help us to make America great again. He has had notable success with this carrot and stick approach. Join us and thrive, or whatever happens to you as a result of your own sinful stubbornness is your problem. This was published in 1998. Make America Great Again. So obviously I'm anxious to see how this book turns out.
You served our country in Iraq, and you had your rights violated by our own government that you fought for and put your life on the line for in this country. That in of itself is horrific. You told agents that you had served in the military, is that correct?
Yes.
You clearly stated that you were a U.S. veteran and served this country, is that correct?
Yes.
When you were violently arrested by ICE, you had no contact with your family the entire time that you were in detention by your own government that you served in Iraq, is that correct?
Yes.
You missed your daughter's birthday while you were in detention, and your family had no idea where you were during the time that you were in detention, is that correct?
Yes.
I think what the American public need to understand is if this can happen to these 5 U.S. citizens that are standing in front of us and sitting here right now, it could happen to anyone. The Donald Trump government is now arresting and detaining United States citizens with no due process, no rights, no call to a lawyer, no call to family. That is the America that we live in today, and why we're here and what we're fighting against every single day with our partners in the Senate.
Because they're kettling us. That's why. For the same reason that they're calling us domestic terrorists just for videotaping, for the same reason that they're in all the northern cities that border Canada, for the same reason that they're not actually just taking criminals and illegals, but all the immigrants, every single one, for the same reason that they got rid of Roe v. Wade, for the same reason they're trying to make it impossible for women to stay in the workforce, for the same reason that they got rid of DEI, for the same reason that everything is moving according to their fascist Nazi plans, right down to the concentration camps. They're kettling us. If you haven't been paying attention to people who are getting their passports flagged, almost everyone I know travels at all has made some kind of a comment that they've gotten notification, either their passport's been completely pulled or they've gotten some weird notification from like TSA. That's why. They're kettling us.
So not only is this going to come into play, but I also saw several people asking about kettling and how to defeat that when it comes to protests. So for those of you who don't know, kettling is essentially a protest technique that's been really dicey over the years that police have used. And essentially what happens is they corral protesters into one area, right? So imagine you've got a group of people marching wherever they're going to march. What happens is the police surround that group and then start squeezing that circle until it gets smaller and smaller, and they're able to start arresting people and condensing that crowd, right? They can contain them to that one area and then rip them apart, which is exactly, as a protester, what you don't want to happen. So how do we get around that? That is where this kind of comment comes in. So exactly to the point, when you're one cohesive group, just like when you have one singular leader, it's really easy to cut off the head, right? When you are in a decentralized group, or you're essentially moving in various whatever you want to call it, groups, packs, troops, whatever that is, when you're moving along those ways, you want to stay, yes, under one central purpose, but decentralized, so it's harder for the police to come into one area. Where a lot of protests get dismantled when it gets to this kind of a level is because the police come in, there's one big protest group, they understand how to coordinate and group up against that one particular group, and they dismantle them piece by piece, right? What we know is that that's not going to work. So you have a few options. One, if you've seriously got enough people, you can make them think twice by kettling the kettlers. It gets really dicey. Don't know if I would recommend that. Another option is stealing something out of Bruce Lee's book, right? You need to be like water. So when you have people with their head on a swivel in your protest group and they're observing what's going on, they look around and they start to notice that there are police circling around, right? The beginning of the kettle. Or you notice that it looks like, as protesters, we've got a lot less room to move than we did before. That's a big red flag. That means that as soon as you see that, you need to, in large groups, do not separate and scatter individually. This is where they can pick people off, kind of like lions hunting gazelles. You don't want to be caught alone. They're going to look for the weakest links, the slowest runners, the people that have pissed them off the most, and they're going to go after them. So don't leave those people alone. Everybody needs to stick together in small, divided groups, right? And not only do you immediately scatter in these big groups, which prevents the police from being able to cohesively coordinate their approach, okay? And you have to rebuild somewhere else. You've got to circle back up in these multiple groups on other routes of your protest. Or if it's not a permitted protest, you just need to keep marching. Wherever your destination is, you need to find a new route there. So make sure that you look at a map beforehand to plan where you're going to go. Once the police have you circled or kettled, you're in big trouble. Don't let yourself get to that point, and keep fighting. Keep resisting. We can do this. We've got it.
They're getting orders saying that we can't leave. It's not 8 o'clock. Do you hear that? They're saying nobody leaves. It's not the 8 o'clock curfew. They've trapped us in here. They've surrounded us all in here. It was a peaceful protest. No one got violent. They got violent. They're waiting until curfew to arrest us all. They let the press go. So my message to the press, look, they're moving in on us, y'all, for no reason. We're not doing anything. They trapped us in here.
Maybe just stay here right now.
We're under arrest.
Under arrest for what?
They said we're under arrest.
For what? What are we under arrest?
Okay.
We're from the city of Los Angeles.
We're under arrest, you guys. And I just had a message for the press. The press came and pretended like they were protesting with us. And when the time came, they went home.
I.C.E. agents threw tear gas into a father's car, leading to 6 children being hospitalized. One of the children, a 6-month-old baby, stopped breathing after inhaling the gas. The incident took place in Minneapolis when the father parked his vehicle near a protest site, only to be targeted by I.C.E. agents who were attempting to disperse the crowd. According to the father, ICE agents deployed tear gas despite knowing Children were inside the vehicle. Videos from the scene show the children struggling to breathe, with the parents urgently trying to get them to the hospital. The incident has sparked widespread public outrage and raised serious questions about I.C.E.'s use of force and tactics. Should I.C.E. be held accountable for the harm caused to innocent children? So far, at least 3 children have been reported injured, and the incident is under investigation. ICE has not yet provided a statement regarding the incident. This troubling event has exposed the potential abuse of power in law enforcement actions and continues to fuel public concern about the safety of innocent people, especially children, during such operations.